Hari Om and welcome to all the Divine Atma Jyotis. Let us continue our Aparokasha Anubhuti contemplation. So, we are contemplating based on day one talk, and Arjunji has been sharing his views on day one questions. So today we'll be taking up from question 5 onwards. Till question 4, we have all had a series of discussions. I hope that is okay with all of you. If anyone needs any further points to be added or any clarifications up to question 4, we can review. Otherwise, we can begin with initially Arjunji sharing his views on question 5 onwards. Does anyone have any questions or anything more to share till question 4?
No, sir, we can start.
We can start? Okay, all right. Deepa ji or Shilpa ji, Rupa ji, anybody feel anything like that?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay, excellent. Then let's focus on from question 5 onwards. Arjunji, you can take from here.
Yeah. How is the Brahman merging into me different from merging into Brahman?
From me merging into Brahman.
From me merging into Brahman. Okay. So if I have to say that I conquer Brahman or merge with Brahman, it is an endless cycle. For example, it's like there is an example where a person was told that if you walk across the land till the only condition is you have to go from here to any extent, but by the sunset you have to return, and that land will be yours. So this person walks and he becomes greedy, and he ignores that he has to walk back, and he continues to walk, and he's never able to get the land. One is that, and that means to say that it's an endless journey. That if I had to say that I will become like the Brahman, or I will go after the Brahman, now that will become an endless cycle. I cannot. So one of the things comes to my mind is that the story of Ganesha and Subramanya, where one time it seems Parvati and Shiva says that why don't we'll give a thing for you in quiz for you or a test for you, where you have to circle the world 3 times and come back. So Subramanya goes around the whole world and comes back. And Ganesha never, he sees that Ganesha has not done anything. They said, what did you do? He said, I just circled around my parents. That's it. I did not go around because they are the world. Now, that was one of the things. If you see the distinction, it's going after the Brahman or something is the Subramania's case, like you go on and on and on, you never. And here is a person who thinks, he realizes what is the world. World is nothing but what is there. And he just says that's what he accepts, and that's what he does. That's one more thing. One more thing is like if a drop of the ocean thinks that I can get the ocean into me, it just cannot happen. And that's the biggest illusion, that I, as a drop of the ocean, I just want to get the whole ocean into me. And that is not. But me and the ocean are not separate, because me and the ocean are the same water. And with that thought, if I get in the ocean and I merge the ocean, I become the ocean. So that is a distinction I feel. The last one is a real distinction where I just become the ocean. That's what it means, sir. Rather than I wanting the ocean to be within me.
Excellent. So there, I become the ocean is also because I am water. Ocean is water. And the drop, in the form in which, I see myself today is also water. So therefore, water is the only reality. Even ocean is not the reality.
Correct. Water is the reality.
Yeah. And I am also water. Ocean is also water. And the drop is also water.
Correct.
Very nice. Excellent. Does anyone have any question, or anyone else wants to take up this question? on the question 5 that Arjunji said. Does anyone have any further questions to Arjunji, or any one of you want to also share? Is whatever Arjunji is saying acceptable? Nice. Okay. Deepaji, how about you? Is it acceptable?
Yes, sir. And very good example given by Arjunji.
Wonderful. Yeah. Arjunji, we can move on.
What is Mukti? Is it different from Aparoksha? The Mukti is nothing but, just now we discussed about intrinsic knowledge, intrinsic ignorance, which is I am separate entity, I am the body, I am the mind, and I am the intellect. That is the bondage actually. So the three bondages are I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, and I am the knower. So like, it is not that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, and I am the knower. So the knowingness behind the know is what I am. And once I realize that, and that's what is the Mukti in my opinion. So once that happens, then I am out of the bondage. Like because the realization that Satchit Ananda and the dropping of the body, mind, and intellect complex is the key factor, and that is the removal of the bondage. And that is what is Mukti. The removal of that bondage is the Mukti. And the bondage is nothing but the ignorance that I am the body, I am the mind, and I am the ignorance. And that is the bondage.
Is it different from Aparokasha Anubhuti?
Actually, it leads to like Aparokasha Anubhuti leads to Mukti.
Aparokasha Anubhuti leads to Mukti. Can you elaborate?
Okay. The very fact that Paroksha and Pratyaksha, Paroksha, and Aparoksha, if you see from that point of view. So Pratyaksha is that I see, which could also be distorted. Paroksha is somebody else has seen, and I'm trying to see that how I can realize that also is may not be a true experience of mine. And Aparoksha is the direct experience of the self, where I realize who I am through the removal of these bondages, which is nothing but through knowledge. And that knowledge which I get, and when I realize it, it is the direct experience. There's nothing that nobody has told, because sometimes the pointing of the finger itself to the moon, I feel I focus on the finger rather than the moon when somebody else is saying. Okay. Here what happens is I realize within myself that who I am through my own direct experience or knowledge, and that is what leads to the Mukti.
So who got Mukta?
The who is the illusionary self, which is all which thinks that it is the real self. The Mukti is nothing but coming out of the matrix.
So from outside the matrix is the I who was seeking Mukti. Is it there?
No, it's not there.
Then is there Mukti from the outside the matrix viewpoint?
It's again the merging of the drop with the ocean. That's the Mukti.
But now, once when you stand outside the matrix, is there a Mukti?
Absolutely. That now actually it is a very paradoxical thing where now I would like to connect that outside the matrix to the ocean. Ocean is the drop is the matrix, and the ocean is outside the matrix.
But who is there to claim that I became Mukta?
Who is there to claim I became Mukta? Okay. Like, see, once the drop merges with the ocean, there's nothing to claim. That's over. There's nothing claim. There's no claim there.
Correct, right? So which means that there is no claiming. So then what is this mukti? Then who is talking about mukti? That, it is Aparoksha Anubhuti leading to mukti.
That ignorant self. For example, right now, I am that body, I am that mind, and I am the ignorant. I am that intellect. Right now, I'm still in that matrix, frankly.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you say, in this class, when I'm there, oh, I feel like you said, when you go to a temple, you feel that, oh, so that means there's a manolaya which is happening. The manonasha has not yet happened. So when the manonasha happens, that's where the mukti is there. And there, that small I, when it gets destroyed, there's nothing to claim. No?
Right.
The small I gets destroyed.
So now, in that context, Aparoksha Anubhuti is what? What is Aparoksha Anubhuti?
It is like when we remove the duality of the mind, where the duality of the mind is removed, I am separate.
Yeah.
That is the removal of that is what is the Aparoksha Anubhuti, the whole of Aparoksha Anubhuti is.
So a direct perception that I am that.
I am that, absolutely.
Which doesn't really require any other senses.
Correct.
So that inner clarity that, I am water, that is Aparoksha Anubhuti.
Absolutely.
Now, from that standpoint, was there ever a bandhana?
Once the realization happens that I am the water, there's no bandhana.
It is not that from that point onwards there is no bandhana, but there was never ever a bandhana.
There was never bandhana. The bandhana was an illusion, like the camel story what he told. That was the bandhana.
In that sense, the very idea of mukti is an illusion.
Yeah, absolutely. In that sense, mukti is an illusion. And I sang one day that song, Brahman in Allaveno. Okay, you have been always the Brahman. There's no doubt about that. So there is this guy called Dominic Lapar, who had written various books like Freedom at Midnight and other things. So one day he was standing in front of the Chennai bus stop because he was wondering what is the title of the book I should give for the book which I'm writing. So when you're standing in front of the bus stop, there was another bus shelter across the road. And on that bus shelter, there was a nice quote which was written. Beyond the cloud, there are 1,000 suns. Now, where is the cloud? The cloud is right here. And now, if I remove the cloud, the sun was already there. So because there's cloud, I believe that there's no suns. So that means I was always liberated, but however, the cloud, which is nothing but the body-mind-intellect complex, which has come into the being or into my existence, that has clouded the suns which are already existing, or the stars which are already existing. The whole Aparoksha Anubhuti is to see that how that cloud can be removed, the cloud of ignorance, so that the suns which are within can emerge, that can be seen as is, and that is the whole game.
Here, I would like us to make a distinction. You're using Aparoksha Anubhuti like as if it is a process of removal of the ignorance. Aparoksha Anubhuti is not a process. Aparoksha Anubhuti is, in one sense, is like I turned on the switch and the light came, right? So is there a process? You can say, yeah, I had to take my finger, I had to press that, and when I pressed, the electrical wires had to get connected, and the electricity had to flow, and then the light, then the light started coming. Yeah, isn't it a process? is like an instantaneous thing where the realization is, I am simply the light. So the light, I'm the light which is shining through that candle or that bulb. So that is what Aparoksha Anubhuti is. I am the light. So all this process was, to see the light. But who's seeing the light? Now the one who wanted to see the light is no more there. So it is simply, light is always there. Just that this particular bulb did not have it because of whatever reason. So Aparoksha Anubhuti is not a process, it's a direct reality setting in.
Sir, in that case, we should not have met at all, if that was the case. And so much of series of discussions this is the process actually. The series of discussion.
No, the process is leading to Manolaya. And when the Mano Nasha happens, then Mano Nasha, what remains when the Mano Nasha happens? Light only.
Correct.
Now, what is that? I mean, if at all I have to say it, I will say, I am that light. Isn't it?
Correct.
There is no more doubt.
Yeah.
So that is a realization. That is a statement of realization. I am that.
Correct.
Light is who I am.
Hmm.
So there is no more doubt. There is no more process.
Correct.
Are the other example that we have heard in the class? Somebody has lost a jewel or a hara, and they're searching everywhere. Eventually they realize it was always there. It is here. Somebody pointed. Recognition. So when the recognition happens, the process before the recognition can seem like, isn't it a process? But the recognition is Aparoksha Anubhuti. And it's not like, I have to keep recognizing. Recognition is.
Vijayji, I hope like reading the text of Aparoksha Anubhuti and other texts, that can be a process, but that is not actual Aparoksha Anubhuti. Aparoksha Anubhuti is that realization in that instant. But reading is different. And that can be called as the process, but that is not the same as the actually going through it.
The reader is reading the text, the listener is listening, and then it's like an instantaneous grasp. Right. That proverbial, the light lit up on my head, right? So in that sense, these are all vague terms to kind of give a feeling. I get it. So
it's something.
Yeah.
Good.
No. Yeah, please go ahead.
So it's something like that. Apples have been falling, coconuts have been falling, everything has been falling. But when it fell in front of Newton, he discovered the gravity.
Yeah.
Or he realized the gravity.
Yeah.
That means gravity was always there.
Correct.
And that recognition was the factor.
So in that moment when the recognition happened that there is gravity, it's a recognition, it's a realization. The force is called gravity. And it's always there.
Correct.
And it was due to nothing else that things were falling.
Correct. Now, as Saranji said, but till the process is to get the requisite knowledge which can be connect the dots. When that happens, is the process.
And the only distinction I am drawing is that process is not Aparoksha Anubhuti.
Not Aparoksha.
The process, can be called as Nija Vicharanam. Okay, inquiry into the truth of the self. Inquiry into truth. So like that, we can give any other name. So the text is named as Aparoksha Anubhuti. to say what is the ultimate reality, what is the ultimate realization. To give another example, Prajnanam Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma is not a statement of process. It is not like saying that take one bottle of water, pour it into the stove, into a tumbler, add some salt, then keep stirring it under heat for 10 minutes. So that is a process. Whereas, what is a dish that happens? Maybe, through this whatever process, let's say we are making halwa. So halwa is a title of the scripture. Halwa is not a process. Halwa is the ultimate, whatever that whole steps that you took led to. Does that make sense to Arjunji?
Yeah. So that which is already existing, and that instant realization which happens is the Aparokasha Anubhuti. But for that, the jnana, the guru, and all, they are the process to lead.
Absolutely. And from the standpoint of the observer, somebody who is outside will say, oh, Mukti is there. Why? Because that somebody outside still feels there is a bandhana. Mukti is simply the disappearance of this ignorance. But the one who had ignorance is himself or herself cannot remain.
I can never say that I got liberated.
Very paradoxical.
I can never say that I got liberated is nothing but I am in the bondage.
Exactly. Therefore, Ramana Maharshi, Prabhuji will never say I got liberated.
That means if I say that, I can never say that I got liberated. It's to say that I will remain as a body, mind, intellect complex.
No, then I has to be there, right? Then only the rest of the things can follow. But
which I we are talking about? Small I or the big I is the question.
So that's why Prabhuji makes this wonderful statement. Small I can never be liberated. Big I never requires liberation.
And big I never talks, only small I talks. So
therefore, in the context of the small I, Mukti is true. Okay, there is a bondage, and seeking out of the bondage is true, and that is important. So let us not get into the confusion that is not necessary. It is very important. That whole process is very important. In fact, just today only, Prabhuji in the, I think in the AVSC also has shared 7 stages of enlightenment according to Yoga Vasishta. So there is a message that has been shared. Let me just put it out here.
So small I can never be liberated. Big I can never.
Small I can never be liberated. Big I doesn't have a concept of a liberation in the first place. Doesn't require liberation.
It is already liberated. Nitya Mukto.
Nitya Muktoham, Shuddhoham.
Nitya Mukta.
As Sharonji said, I can never say that I am liberated. Whether that is going to remain or not is a question, not the question as far as I am concerned. But what I'm seeing when I go out to the world and interact with the world, I am able to get a lot of distinction clarity within so much that I am in the space of silence in many of the times, even when I'm talking. That's my experience. What has happened, Sharanji, of late.
Absolutely. It is like, when you do pranayama, you definitely experience silence. There is no denial of that experience. It is not to deny the experience. The question is, who is the one who is talking about the experience? The one who is talking about the experience is the one who has disappeared post that final stage. So, in fact, all the time there is peace only. All the time there is silence only. These words appear, remain, and merge into the silence. Silence is that substratum. Silence is the common ground in which sound appears, remains for some time, and disappears. So silence has never been really destroyed. The apparent illusion that the silence has been destroyed is what is the ignorance. Why? Because somebody was noticing above the silence, was only noticing only the sound. Only the sounds coming and going, sounds coming and going. Never really noticed the silence, which is a substratum, which is there as the common ground. Are thinking in terms of the visual terms, space, the Kali Jaga, is always there. In the space, things appear, disappear, appear, disappear. When the mind was focused on only the forms, it never noticed the space. So space has never been taken away. It appears to have been taken away when the form appears. But it is a substratum, is a common ground in which forms appear and disappear. So in that sense, Brahman, or the true self, is the common ground. That is why we say awareness. In your awareness, forms appear and disappear. So that awareness is the only reality. And as that awareness, what to claim, to who to claim, because there must be someone else to claim. So from the viewpoint, from the standpoint, again, this is a discussion simply to bring clarity. It's not about something is right or wrong. From the viewpoint of that awareness, from the viewpoint of Brahman, ultimately there is no claiming, because this very discussion is happening. Is not reality. This very discussion is a exchange of sounds. But the substratum that is holding this discussion, and that is only reality.
Sir, actually, I got a lot of inputs about the whole thing, what Ramakrishna Paramahansa went through, which is more like a road to enlightenment, you can say. Was in the Gospels of Ramakrishna, if I'm right, like where I read a lot of this thing, what you're saying. Like when you say a process or something, so many things are written over there. So still I'm of the opinion that till the point I come to that point and of Aparokasha Anubhuti, like that means Aparokasha Anubhuti is already existing everywhere. I have not realized it. That means it's existing right now. It's there. Am I right?
So when I'm focused on the sound, for a moment it may give me a false impression that the silence has disappeared. But the sound and the silence coexist. There is no way for the sound to exist without the silence.
Correct.
Silence is accommodating the sound.
The space is accommodating the form. For a moment, I may get into illusion that space has disappeared. They are not two. Sound and silence are not two. Space and form are not two. They are one. Because the fundamental ignorance during the sadhana is that there is a sadhana. One day there will be realization. That one day there will be realization. Who is saying that one day there will be realization? That the one who is saying that one is the unreality.
So I can say that in that awareness, the life as we see it today is the one that is appearing and disappearing, all the changes, and it will continue to appear and disappear even after one realizes self. The appearance, the drama will continue to happen. And today, the jiva has likes and dislikes based on the appearances. Some appearance the jiva likes, some the jiva doesn't like. And post realizing, the realized one is able to distance the appearance from the self and is able to stay unaffected by what is appearing and disappearing. Because I feel like that is to me the liberation, which is like freeing myself from the happenings. Today it is like there's a tight coupling of binding with the happenings, and the process is to disconnect from that happening and be able to watch and not getting affected, because I'm the only one, and this is nothing but appearance. What is happening is appearance. Is that's how I'm trying to visualize the pre and the post effect of Mukti.
Just to bring one another viewpoint to help with this discussion.
Is that room inside? Okay. Yeah.
So
the two birds. One is enjoying all the fruits and or tasting all the fruits.
So this is like the mind, right? This bird, which is enjoying the fruit, is like the mind. But the Paramatma in you, that is the awareness in you, is the ground on which this bird is able to enjoy. The ground is unaffected.
Yeah.
The ground is only reality. This bird is only reality.
No. But the two birds, how is the ground? I am not able to get that.
Okay. So this bird, okay. So this is an example. This is a picture that Mundaka gives us. What it says, there are two birds. One of the bird is sitting and eating the various fruits in the tree. And the other bird is simply watching everything. So this bird which is eating and enjoying, who is eating? Who is the one who is eating? So what is eating? The eating is a sensory activity, right? Through my eyes I'm eating, through my ears I'm eating, through my nose I'm eating, through my tongue I'm eating, through my skin I'm eating. What am I eating? Various sensations, right? Of what? Of something outside of these senses. So what is this that is outside of these senses is something else. And what is inside of the senses is me. The very notion that there is something outside of the senses is out and something inside of the senses is me is what this bird's perception is. That is why it is able to eat. See, you are able to eat something else because it is something else apart from you. The mango is outside of you. The banana is outside of you. And when you say, I need to interact, somebody else is outside of you to interact with. And what is the boundary of the outside and inside? What is inside? This body and its sense organs is the inside. And what is outside? Outside of this. So with that notion only you can interact. With that notion only there can be transaction. And fundamentally, when you examine that, where is the sense of boundary? I can say that, the sense of the boundary is in my mind. In my mind, I have a boundary, right? Because sometimes I interact with the world as a body. Then I say, I am eating mango. And if I ask you, who are you? You will say, you'll point at this and say, this is who I am. This body. This is where I begin and this is where I end. Anything outside of this is not me. But then, sometimes you say, you see this person, this is my child. And I feel very close to my child. I feel as if, I'm not separate from my child. Then when I ask you, oh, but you just now said that, it is this body that is the boundary. Then you'll say, no. It is something else. In my mind, I feel one with my child. I don't feel separation from my child. I feel very as if one. I can give my mango to my child. Many mothers say no when they cook. If my child eats, I feel full. I feel as if I have eaten. So there is something else. So then the body is no more this physical appearing body. The body is a slightly enlarged body. Where is that? You cannot see that, but in your mind you can know, oh, I have enlarged to become me and my son. So now that enlargement can also extend to me and my community. I strongly get associated with my community, or me and my state, or me and my language, or me and my country. I have a strong rootedness. I'm an Indian. So the body of an Indian, can you show me body of an Indian? It is all through, as the map of the India is the Indian. If somebody comes and claims some part of India as theirs, then the Indian says, no, that cannot be, which means there is a body. There is a body, but that body is a body in the mind, isn't it? So only when you are a body, some kind of a body, it can be this physical body or it can be a mental body. Only when you are a body can you enjoy. Why? Because as a body, there is something else that is separate. As a body only, there is a inner and outer. I am this and something else. As a physical body, I can enjoy mango. Right? Mango is outside of me. So this body, is it a reality? Whether it's this physical or the mental, is it a reality? It is not real. It's an appearance. Where is it appearing? In this other bird, which is simply watching. It is not that in the body of this bird, this body is appearing. It is not in that way. What we have to understand, this bird is nothing but the awareness. In the awareness, this mind is also appearing and disappearing. Where is this mind? Where is the notion that I am an Indian? In awareness. Where is this notion that I am this physical body? In awareness. So the awareness is that Paramatma, is that Sakshi. That awareness is not changing. Awareness is simply the light which is giving light to everything. In that awareness, all these bodies are appearing and disappearing, whether this body or that body. In that awareness only, all this enjoyment, getting, taking, losing, winning, all this is happening in the light of that awareness. But is the light ever affected? No. Does the light need anything more? No. Does the light lose anything? No. So this light is who you truly are. Because rest everything is a body that is appearing and disappearing. That's why Shri Krishna here is saying, Mam tu Vedana Kaschana. Nobody knows me. Why? Because as long as I am situated as this bird, then I'm enjoying this. The source of my own existence, this bird's very existence, the mind's in whose light, in whose on whose ground the mind itself is operating. The ground belongs to Paramatma. That, the ground is not being seen, but what is there on the ground is being seen. In whose ground all these forms are appearing physically? The ground called space, this empty space. The empty space, we cannot see empty space. See, you've never really seen the empty space. Because of a form, you're aware that there is empty space. But you cannot see empty space like how you see the form. So in that sense, Mam tu Vedana Kaschana. So realization, this bird, this Sakshi, this awareness is the only reality, is Aparokasha Anubhuti.
So
Does
that
this-
means, sir,
Yeah.
it is not that because of this class which I'm coming, I'm going to get Aparokasha Anubhuti. Okay,
Yeah.
I could have got those kind of glimpses even earlier in my life.
You always been.
Yeah.
Vedanta says, your every moment of life is nothing but divine only. However, recognition that it is a divine life was not there. Why? Because that jnana was not there. What jnana? Atma jnana. And how is the Atma jnana coming? Because of the Sadguru. So in that sense, Atma jnana is clarifying your experience, is not giving you a new experience.
So we can say something like this in lighter sense. You are always divine. Because you cut off the D, it's only wine now.
Wonderful. That see a wonderful word. In that, when you remove the D, it starts with I wine. So I wine. I've drunk the wine that I am separate.
No, I keep
Madira
whining.
Pita. Wow.
Really, there is another thing. I whine. I keep crying.
I keep crying. Vare va.
I wine and I wine.
On whining. I have drunk the wine. So,
Wine called body intellect, body mind intellect.
oh,
You know?
wow. Arjunji, what a nice insight.
And add the D, not the D, and it becomes divine.
Yeah.
You know?
Nice. Okay. So, anyone else has any questions, comments on what Arjunji has been sharing so far in this discussion?
No, sir, but I have a question regarding the slide that you're sharing currently.
Yes.
Here, sir, the third one you have, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It is Tanu Manasi, right?
Tanumanasi. Yeah.
So there you have written it is tenuous mind, right? How I understand meaning of tenuous is it's weak.
Correct.
That's correct. So how,
Yeah.
why is it written that it's weak?
Weak in the sense that the strong notion that I am a body and mind is weakening, is becoming what I thought myself to be, that there is a strong hold on who I am. That strong hold is loosening.
So here it is mostly referring to the ego only, because ego is connected with the mind, right?
Yeah.
That's why there is no mention of the ego separately here, right?
Yes. So the ego sense is loosening. Because what is mind? Mind is nothing but thoughts. What is the root of thought? I thought. I thought is weakening. In the sense that I am a separate entity is weakening.
Okay. And the last one, the Turiyaga, right? It is referring to the Turiya state, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is in that bird example, the bird, which is sitting and watching.
Yeah. I have one more question, sir. In the deep sleep state, right?
Yeah.
Isn't
Prabhani, sir, sorry. Go back, sir.
Yeah. You mean this slide? 7 stages?
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, Padmaji.
Yeah, so I was asking that in the deep sleep state, isn't that the closest that we come to the self? Of course, it again goes away once you wake up, but isn't that a slight glimpse of I mean, you cannot express it in words, but then isn't that the state like we closest come to the self?
So, okay, whenever we use the word state, right? State
Yeah,
means something that comes
it
and
will
goes,
change.
right?
Yeah, it comes and goes.
Yeah.
But I'm asking, like, isn't that the
Correct. Because deep sleep is like that common ground.
Yeah, because the mind is not active, right?
Yeah. However, there is no masala in that, right?
Yeah.
So the self needs masala. So then there is waking state, dreaming state. When the Atma Jnana is not there, the masala is I wine. Okay. When the Atma Jnana is there, it suddenly is everything is divine.
Yeah.
Thanks, Arjunji. We can summarize our class in only one word. Really, isn't it? Within that word, the entire Atma Jnana is there.
Yeah.
Okay. So from wine to divine, there's Atma Jnana.
I wine to divine.
Divine. Sir, ಈಗ 6th and 7th ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾದಾರ್ಥ ಭಾವನಿ and Turiya.
Padartha abhavani. Padartha abhavani.
Absolute non-perception of the objects.
Yeah.
And Turiya beyond. ಎರಡು ಒಂದೇ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
So in the Padartha abhavani, it is like there is very clear, it's coming and going. Okay. So it's like you're very clear, you're dreaming.
Okay.
But the dream objects are coming and going. But you have absolutely no problem. So you are able to keep seeing the ground on which this is coming and going. So pain comes and goes, injury comes and goes, insult comes and goes, praise comes and goes, money comes and goes. Absolutely no problem. And the tendency of the mind to focus on that prior to 3 is completely lost.
What's that? What to 3?
The tendency of the mind prior to stage 3, where it used to reflect on what is coming and going. No, it used to get attached to what is coming and going. No, it used to be bound to the coming and going.
Okay. Where is the 3, sir?
Stage number 3, Tanumanasi.
Oh, Tanumanasi. Okay. Weak mind.
Prior to that, so that's why, prior to that, see, this is the 7 stages of enlightenment according to Yoga Vasishta. So in that stage 4 onwards, it is, sorry?
Further explanation is there on this or somewhere?
Guruji has given a beautiful talk. I will share the link of that talk in our group.
Please, sir. Please, sir.
Yeah. So is it now clear? 6 and 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or any other points?
Turiya Tita antu nidalo, sir. Turiya ಒಂದು
Turiya Tita is similar to Turiya, and then this Turiyaga is the common ground. Is the common ground. Is the only reality.
See, once a long time back, Guruji had told. See, somebody said, if I don't want to get enlightened, the reason is I'll have to give up everything and go away from wherever I am. Then he said, when you get enlightened, you'll become better in what you're doing. If you're a doctor, you'll become a better doctor. If you're an engineer, you'll become a better engineer. If you're a teacher, you'll become a better teacher. You're not going to drop everything and go away. Okay. So I think that I'm realizing right now, sir. And at one time, it was knowledge which was making me better. Now, for the work what I'm doing, there's no further knowledge needed. But the being is being realized, and that is becoming better in the output of my work.
See, when there is something to gain or lose, the game becomes stressful.
Yeah.
When there is nothing to gain or lose, it's a leela.
Yeah. For example, there's a company where it's a subsidiary of Volkswagen. For 8 years, they have not made the profit, and that's where they had me. Okay. And to actually speaking, I have not got into any stress, no fear, nothing. And the only concept what I adopted from Krishna was like life is an exam or life is a game. So Arjuna state is life is the exam. Krishna state is life is a game. And that's what, and everything what we are discussing here or in our Bhagavad Gita class is just getting the distinction, which is making it better and better. And what is dropping is not the body, mind, intellect. That is something else which I need to look at. But what is dropping is the fear, worry, and pressure or the stress which is getting dropped.
Yeah.
And that's my take, sir. Or what makes me to come again and again is the dropping which is happening, which you can experience.
Definitely. So in a way, you've already addressed the 7th question, how to attain Mukti.
Yes, sir.
However, would you still like to comment on that?
So my summary is, Mukti has been always there. The illusionary or intrinsic ignorance, that when it's the veil, when it's removed, the mukti which is already there appears.
Hmm. From the standpoint of the GV, there is still a process. Yeah, so there is still a process to be undertaken. There's a journey to be undertaken. So from that viewpoint, yeah, I have to do, first of all, Chitta Shuddhi. Then I have to develop the Titikshvatva and all the other qualities, Shat Sampatis. And I have to reflect on the truth. So that journey is valid from the standpoint of the GV, from the sadhaka. Yeah, so therefore it is not to say that that entire journey is invalid. That entire journey is very valid. The beauty of the Indian spiritual system is that journey has been given the most important at the center stage of life. So that, in fact, the very life itself is that journey, is how the rishis have given us the clarity. So it is never to say that that journey is not important. The journey is not needed for Prabhuji, for Ramana, because the journey has ended. But who can comment on that? Only Prabhuji or Ramana. I don't know. I'm just making up that sentence. So in that sense, only you and you can know where you are and what needs to be done.
The whole thing is about you only. So it was for the one who is going through it to realize this. And so the characters, even the gurus who are appearing, and it's not about evaluating them, because it is about only self. It is not about evaluating the characters that appeared. They have appeared for a purpose, for this.
In a way, they are like that. When you're measuring, see, there is no measurement in absolute. You can only measure in relation.
Relative.
This is taller than this. This is shorter than this. It's in relationship. So to give you that contrast, Sadguru as a form exists. Ishvara Guru Atmeti.
Very nice. Right.
So it's 8:05. So shall we stop here, or do you want to continue to one or two more questions? Or Deepaji, Rupaji, Shilpaji, something that you want? Shubhaji, anything to say or add so far?
Saravanan wanted to leave today, Ansutala. He wanted to go early.
Yeah, whoever was supposed to come and pick me up, they have been delayed.
Okay, so we can continue in that case. I was more concerned about Saravanan not being there. If he's there, then
we can continue for at least another 10-15 minutes if that is okay with everybody else. Shubhaji, Padmaji, Shilpaji, Deepaji.
Yes, sir. Fine, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Fine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Arjunji. So then you can pick up 8th question.
Yeah. 8 questions. Sorry. Prasthana Traya. How does spiritual scripture? Prasthana Traya is the three. That is the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita and Brahma Sutra.
Yeah.
That's the Prasthana Traya.
Yeah.
And how does spiritual scripture help? I think that this is a true reflection of how it's helping us, whatever we are doing right now. You know, so it clears the veil of whatever is the Maya, the matrix, and helps me to move beyond the matrix. Or the me means that body, mind, and intellect complex is dropped in the whole process, and that's the most important thing about the Prasthana Traya. But what's more important, for, in my opinion, is that I am getting guided by Vijayji and Prabhuji is the key factor, more than the Prasthana Traya for me. You know, like without that guidance, this will be like on the bookshelf, good look to have the books. You know, or then I'll be like seeing the tail of the elephant and making that as an elephant, or the ear of the elephant and making that as an elephant. That I'll go on with that. So for me, one is the Prasthana Traya, but more than that, the way it's been expressed and put it across in the way which fires me up to go more and more after it is something which is I consider as a blessing than anything else.
Certainly. Because even Bhagavad Gita says all that it says, but then in every chapter, if you see, it keeps referring to the Sadguru in one way or the other. And ultimately, all the scriptures also say there is no way that this can be realized without that living presence, because it is a presence that guides us. Because it is not a conceptual understanding. So therefore, we need that living presence of our, for us it is the Prabhuji. And through that living presence, we are able to keep reflecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. However, what happens is, in the society, there may be confusion about how some guru is saying something. Then what is the final reference or final authority? Shastra Sammati, right? Why? Because Shastra Sammati is nothing but over a period of time, all the acharyas and the Sadgurus and the gurus, all their collective experience, collective wisdom is what Shastras are. So in that sense, when there is a dispute, it is ultimately resolved by Shastra. So in that sense, Sadguru and Shastra cannot be different. And they are not different. And that's why the Prasthana Trayas are given that ultimate status. But you are absolutely right. Above that, how did the Prasthana Traya itself originate? From whose living presence Bhagavad Gita came? From whose living presence Upanishads came? And in whose living presence are you and I realizing the Upanishad statements? The Upanishads as a book was always there. Isha Vasya Upanishad was always there. What is this Isha, which is always there and present everywhere? You would read that word, but does it make any sense? That is where the Sadguru, who is the living embodiment of the scripture. So in that sense, Sadguru and scripture are not two, because the words of the Sadguru has become scripture. So therefore, Sadguru cannot have something else other than what the scripture is saying in terms of knowledge. So there cannot be you will not find a difference.
So Prasthana and sir, what is Prasthana means?
Yeah. So we in fact have a small diagram for that. So Traya means three, Prasthana means journey or a path. So Prasthana Traya is essentially journey to ultimate reality. So Upanishads are Shruti. The revelations of the great rishis is what Upanishads are. Bhagavad Gita is Smriti. It was told and it was captured and it's being transmitted. Brahma Sutra is one where it removes all kinds of confusions that can arise in this clarity about the ultimate reality.
So Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Purana alagala.
Illa Purana andre Vedavyasa Maharshi created Puranas as an aid for the Jnana.
Yeah.
It's like Upanishads are like the pure science.
Okay.
The pure science, because sometimes can be so cryptic. E is equal to mc square. The formula is given. Tat Tvamasi, the formula is given. Prajnanam Brahma, the formula is given. But okay, how do I understand that? How do I realize that in my day-to-day experience, in my moment-to-moment living? What does it mean? I have my toothache and money problem. What does Prajnanam Brahma do to remove that? It doesn't give me pain remover, or doesn't give me money. So therefore, from the context of the seeker, the journey is valid. So Prasthana Traya.
Okay. Smriti dissipates that.
Yeah, in a way, we can say it kind of says elaborated, made it easy, right? Smriti is from memory, right? So, so what you listen with the Sadguru is the Shruti. So therefore, Shravana Matrena, the Mukti can happen Shravana Matrena. So the living presence of the Sadguru is extremely important, like you rightly said. Because only in that utterance, in that listening to that opening can happen.
So in that case, was Krishna giving it from memory? That's what it means? Smriti?
Krishna is not giving it from memory. Krishna is the Sadguru in that context.
So then why it's called Shruti, Smriti rather than Shruti?
So it is Smriti because, see, then, what are you doing? You're capturing it. Who captured? Vedavyasa if you really look at it, Krishna said to Arjuna, then who was listening to that? Sanjaya. And who was he narrating to? Dhritarashtra. Then who wrote all this? Is Vedavyasa, right? So it is essentially a memory of, in that sense, memory of, it's like, for example, in our conversation we say, right? Oh, this is what Prabhuji has said in that talk. So refer to that talk, this is what he has said. And according to that, this is what the truth is. Right? So it is, we are referring to someone else. I myself may not know. I myself may not have completely realized it. Then I refer, hey, this is what I saw, this is what I heard, this is what they said. And therefore, now let us see whether this is the reality or not.
So here the small confusion is,
Yeah.
that means Krishna was giving it like a Shruti, the pure science.
Between him and Arjuna, it is Shruti only. Yeah, see.
Shruti, but he was also clarifying the E is equal to mc square in a much more broader sense. So we cannot confine that it's only pure science which cannot be understood.
Even in Upanishads, you will see question and answers. See, we're not saying that clarification is not needed. No. So the whole, in that sense, Bhagavad Gita is also an Upanishad, right? So it's a very fine distinction. It is also a Upanishad. What is Upanishad? Upanishad. So you are sitting, nearby. Who's nearby are you sitting? The living presence of a Sadguru. In the living presence, by sitting nearby Sadguru, what you realize is Shruti. That is the inner meaning of Upanishad. The textbook. So for example, there may be a textbook called Aparokasha Anubhuti. This is not Upanishad. This is simply a printed matter according to whatever that was said.
Okay.
And Nyaya Prasthana, if there are any differences, it removes all those differences. So it is to bring the Nyaya, okay, which is the ultimate position. Is Advaita the ultimate position or Dvaita the ultimate position? Which is the ultimate position? What is the reality? So it clarifies any confusion in the path to Brahman. Does it clarify, Arjunji?
Yeah.
All right.
Nyaya Prasthana removes, sir. What does it do, sir?
Nyaya Prasthana is the one which, like the word Nyaya. Nyaya means what? There's a dispute. There are two viewpoints or more than two viewpoints. So ultimately, it reflects on all the viewpoints and says that the judge gives a judgment. No, okay. Now in this dispute, this party A is the right party, right? So like that, Nyaya Prasthana is to bring judgment between more than one viewpoint related to the same topic. So that's why in Brahma Sutra you'll have Purva Pakshi. A Purva Pakshi is the one who raises questions, doubts. In one sense, Arjuna was raising questions, right? So, and what was Krishna doing? Bringing clarity, right? He was in that sense giving Nyaya. But here, the conversation is like between a disciple and a guru. Whereas in the Brahma Sutra, Nyaya Prasthana, it is like, 2 or 3 who are already very well established in the knowledge of the Brahman are sitting and reflecting on some finer aspects. And there's a slight confusion. So like how we just now discussed, Shruti and Smriti kind of, overlap. How do I bring an exact distinction between Shruti and Smriti? So where does Shruti end and where does Smriti begin? So there's a kind of a, it's not that you and I are disagreeing, but if you and I are trying to put a very clear definition, then how do we do it? So Nyaya Prasthana helps us in all such finer aspects. So Advaita. So what does Advaita? So then, okay, what about creation? Is creation reality? So some schools of philosophy believe that creation is reality. Some schools believe that there is never really a creation. So which of them is the reality? So like that, it takes up resolving final doubts or distinct viewpoints. Okay, Arjunji?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then shall we end our today's session? It's 8:20.
Yes, sir.
And Sarvananji also has the drop. So I think we will continue in our next session from, there are 3 more questions in the day 1 talk that you can reflect upon.
Sir, one thing I want to know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, you're going to send that, no? That's 7. Okay, no problem. Yoga Vash. That's okay. No problem.
All right. Shubhaji?
Yes. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead me from untruth to truth, darkness to light, impermanence to permanence. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om Purnamadaha Namidam Purnat Purnamuduchyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, that is complete. This is complete. When completeness is removed from completeness, what remains is complete. When completeness is added to completeness, totality remains complete. Om, peace, peace, peace. Nanu, nanembudu nanalla, ee deha manabuddhi nanalla, Satchidanandatma, Shivananu nane, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am pure consciousness. Shivaswaram. Atmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Satyadarshanam. Recognition of the self is recognition of the whole. Recognition of the whole is recognition of truth. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. We worship the three-eyed one who is fragrant and who nourishes all. Like the fruit falls off from the bondage of the stem, may we be liberated from death, from mortality. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy, healthy, and peaceful. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you so much. Hari Om.
Thank you very much, Shubhaji. Thank you all.
Hari
See you
Om,
all
sir.
next Sunday.
Thank you, everyone.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank